Hello, welcome to our channel. It has been almost 2 weeks, a little bit more than 2 weeks, since we released our introductory video. Thanks for the interest you have shown, that has encouraged us. And we have made some preparations during this time. And due to some impossibilities, it was delayed to shoot our first program. We have prepared a nice generic within the framework of these preparations. I hope you will like it, because we have worked hard in this generic. We have tried at our best to be worthy of the beauty of the truths that we will share here for you, and also of the beauty of people like you. Of course, your support, which you will show in your comments, both by subscribing and liking, will encourage us even more and give the truth shared here will lead to reaching larger masses. Our target to open our channel is to convey the goodness to the people and to convey the truth. When I made the first opening announcement of the channel from my Twitter account, that is called Afsin Süleyman, I said that we would conduct discussions, especially from My Father Ali UNAL's translation of the Quran. In this sense, I plan to focus especially on the issues of faith and morality, because these issues are especially important today. So, I wanted to start the first program by talking about my father, because I believe that this is both a requirement of sense of loyalty, and I hope that it will cause recall in the hearts and prayers. My father worked for years to translate the Holy Quran and prepared it both in Turkish and English languages at the same time. When I shared this hard duration of the preparation of the Holy Quran by my father in my Twitter account Afsin Süleyman, I got lots of feedback from people. Almost everyone from all over the world was telling how much they liked the translation of the Quran and how much they benefited from it. Because the translation of the Quran prepared by my father has been translated into almost 10 to 15 different world languages as of now and presented to the people's use. Therefore, I hope that we will benefit from this reward given to my father by Allah, because our heart is in this direction. We love people who do such good work with him. As my father, we heartedly support the scholars who have dedicated their lives and knowledge to the benefit of people. We hope that we will also benefit from the reward Allah will give to my father, because our hearts are with him. My father, Ali UNAL, is now 64 years old. When he completed the translation of the Quran in English and Turkish languages, he was, I think, 54 to 55 years old. Until then, I don't remember that. My father had a hump on his back, but it will probably be from the weight of this work and the hardship of this work. When he completed the translation of the Quran, a slight hump was formed on his back. My father wrote almost 90 books with the translation of the Holy Quran as well. Almost 30 of these books are translated in different languages and read by people from all over the world. My father Ali UNAL, who had worked hard so much and dedicated his life so much for the benefit of humanity, unfortunately is currently in jail now in Turkey. Yes, you haven't heard it wrong. This is a big unfortunate and it's a very sad news. But not only my father. Along with my father, there are hundreds of women, children, babies, and scholars, writers, and journalists, authors, teachers even, judges, policies, currently in Turkey prisons. The reason is that the government of Turkey captures all kinds of people opposed to it and puts them behind the bars. Currently, there is no freedom of expression in Turkey. My father didn't give his pen and knowledge to anyone's order or use or interest or benefit. He didn't write for anyone, but he wrote only for the sake of the truths. He expressed his thoughts freely. He expressed his opinions freely. It can only be the truth or the rule of the truth and justice and right for him. No superiority can be superior to the superiority of the right. So, at the moment, my father is not the only one in prison in Turkey, but there are hundreds of writers, scholars, and journalists, and women, and sick people, pregnant women, babies, children, as I said before. Because of this situation, I wished and I wanted to start the first program by sharing a memory about my father's arrest. It was August 2016 when my father was arrested. He was in his village with my mother and my innate disabled sister. One morning, he had called a relative's car to leave the village because he had no car. While they were going to get in the car after performing the morning prayer, 10 to 15 soldiers suddenly appeared and surrounded them, and they were arrested. What happened or done during the arrest is a different issue, I think, and plan to share it in another program. Of course, later the photos of the moment of arrest has been taken to prison and taken to the first court, were reflected in Turkish media. The first thing that caught my attention in the photos reflected in the media was that my father was quite weakened. And the second thing was the shirt he wore was noticed. I want to share my memory of that shirt with you here. I consider it useful in terms of both being a reason for prayer and learning the facts by people in order to make a note of history. Because future generations have the right to know the truth of everything. I think it was the month of Ramadan in 2015. My niece was born and my mother went to their house to help my sister. So my father came to us to stay in this time. And we were in Istanbul. We spent 4 to 5 days together since it was the month of Ramadan. there were iftar time programs on televisions. Iftar time means when the Muslims break their fasting. My father was also invited to a television channel for the iftar time program. It was probably the program of Mr. Ahmet Bozkuş, if I don't remember wrong, on Samanyolu TV. So if I am wrong, please, and if Mr. Ahmet Bozkuş is watching us now, please rectify it. My father would go to the program directly from our home. While my father was prepared to go to the program, I noticed that the pants and shirt he wore were not suitable to appear in such a program. I immediately ran to the closet, my wardrobe, and picked a shirt from there and asked him to wear it. So I hadn't specifically or especially picked that shirt. That shirt was the one ready to wear, so I picked it. Then I chose a pair of pants from the closet, both of which corresponded to my father's size. Then I realized that his belt was also a little worn out. I immediately went to the wardrobe again and grabbed a belt and brought it to him. So he wore them all. It was all fit and looked better. He had become happy with my behavior that he later expressed his happiness and joy to my mother. Of course, I felt happy because my father was happy too. Then he went to the iftar program in this way. When my father was arrested, the shirt he wore and on the pictures of his arrest reflected in the media was this shirt. I was very emotional when I saw these pictures. So what made this shirt so special? Of course, it was not that I gave my shirt to my father. In this sense, yes, it meant a lot for me, but what made this shirt so special was the price of that shirt. I had bought that shirt from a charity campaign to help the poor, only 5 Turkish liras. It was a charity campaign that sold beautiful and clean used second-hand clothing to help the poor. I then bought that shirt from this aid campaign for only 5 Turkish liras. If we think of it as a dollar, in order to make you understand, it is cost. So if we think of it as a dollar right now, it doesn't make even a dollar. When he was arrested, my father, who wore a shirt of only 5 lira, so not even a dollar, has been in prison for 4 years. So I request you to pay attention here now, especially why he is in prison for 4 years. With a groundless accusation, such as membership or management or an administrator of a terrorist organization and seizing the state in this way. In other words, a man who lives far from the luxury of the world, as much as wearing a 5 Turkish lira shirt, which is not even worth of $1, will take over the state? Or a person with such a life, what would he do to take over the state? Yeah, of course, this sounds quite ridiculous. And of course, we know that the real reason my father was arrested was not this groundless an unfounded accusation they made up. He had already stated this in his defense at the last court, where he was sentenced to 19.5 years in prison. In his defense, he said, "I made it a duty of my life to call people to goodness and beauty and warn them against evil. Because the Quran says, let be a group of people among you, and this group should invite people for good, remind people of beauty and goodness, and warn people against evil." Here, I know this verse as the duty of my life. So, this was the main reason why my father was arrested. My father was conveying the truth to the people in a correct way. He didn't hesitate to write the truth correctly and freely. He had not given his pen to the order of any authority. This was the main reason for his arrest, because he didn't prefer the honor of those truths and the knowledge to any other worldly honors and interests of the world. Of course, those who held my father in the jail think that they really imprisoned him, but those who are like my father and my father are actually in palaces, even if their bodies are in prison, because they live in the light of the truth and faith. Those who arrested him are in prison, even their bodies are in the palaces, because their spirits are deprived of the light of the truth and faith. Hopefully in this channel, we will try to make programs in English and Turkish languages on subjects related to faith and morality from my father's Holy Quran translation. Sometimes there will be our honorable guests as well, like journalists, authors, thinkers, and some other valuable and honorable guests. Of course, we will not only have programs related to the Quran translation prepared by my father on our channel, we will also try to make programs in English and Turkish languages on topics related to faith and morality, especially from the books also written by my father, that is called the General Principles from the Risale-i Nur collection. We will also have programs related to religious education. We will try to make programs on topics such as how to give religious education from the age 7 to the age 77 and what to pay attention to. We will have another program called the Sermon of the Week to be published every Friday. And we plan to publish these sermons both in English and Turkish as well. In addition, we will try to share our thoughts about social, sometimes political, and sometimes moral current issues and our analyses and opinions here. Furthermore, we plan to perform some beautiful stories with images, especially for young people. There are also many people who are very curious about my father's condition. So, from time to time, we will provide up-to-date information about his health, both spiritual and material. Meanwhile, of course, we will talk about memories related to my father, or if there are those who want to tell about the memories he had with him, we will share these memories here in our channel. We are planning this for now. Of course, we are always open to your suggestions and comments. We hope that you will support us with your comments by subscribing, by liking, and encouraging us. For those who love my father and those who wonder about him as of now, the health of my father is in good health. his moral is quite strong, alhamdulillah. He is standing firm with your prayers and with the permission of Allah. In this sense, we ask for the continuation of your prayers. Even if he is currently in prison, his thoughts, his works will always be with us and with you. With his thoughts and works, he will always call out to our minds and hearts. That would be all for now. Hope to meet you again in the next Quran translation program. Yes, coffee is actually an excuse for love and friendly, good conversation. That's why we called it coffee is an excuse. So in Turkish language, bir kahve bahane. So we are planning and thinking of sharing all this with you with an excuse for coffee. We wish to form a bond of love and friendship between you and us with an excuse of a coffee. Thanks, goodbye, and be entrusted to Allah.